The Say Something podcast is brought to you by amomentwithmorris.com and blackblueprints.com. That's blackblueprints with a Z.com. I'm Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Peace and blessings, family.
We are bringing you the newest episode of the Say Something podcast.
Say something, say something, say something.
As we do what we do, get together and talk about everything happening in the life and the world out in these streets.
In these cold, cold, cold streets, yeah.
You gonna drop a Christmas album?
Oh, man, you know.
Kwanzaa album?
Kwanzaa, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all the other things.
Bringing you episode number 71.
Boom, bang, ping. Here we go, brother.
Episode 71. As always, we like to highlight black excellence, our people that have done great things in this life. Some have gone on to the celestial greener pastures. Some of them are still with us, but I think it's important that we highlight our folks and tell our stories.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So one gentleman in particular. Now, this is a near and dear one to my heart. I'm a fan of what this brother did. He's since gone on. He's an ancestor now, and he was born in 1899. So I mean, he lived a long time, but he was born in 1899 in D.C. and he was born the son of two pianists, two piano players. And I'm gonna give a real brief story about this brother, but there's no way I can do it justice for what he accomplished in his life. Mm-hmm. Like, they really need to be a movie, like a real introspective movie about what this brother did in this time. And he passed in 1974. So let you know how long he was here with us. He ultimately had passed of lung cancer and pneumonia. But in his time period, he would probably, if you're having a conversation of some of the most influential people involved in jazz music, you can't get past 2 or 3 without this brother, before you start really addressing what he did and his contribution to the game. And during the era of the Harlem Black Renaissance, the Cotton Club in Harlem in the 20s, and what he did in music for over 50 years, he had composed over 1,000 pieces of music. He had his full orchestra and what he adapted to jazz music. He didn't even like to be referred to as a jazz player. He used to say that he was beyond category. Like, he was just what he could create and what he could do inspired so many people. His legacy in music is unmatched. Like, when people talk about Prince's catalog and all the released music that he had in the vaults and vaults and vaults, he took a page directly out of this man's playbook. And as he was trying to establish himself musically, he used to work during the day to finance his music profession in life. So a lot of the artists now out there who are always looking for somebody to give him money, his brother used to work doing everything from working at the ballpark to he used to work in a sign business. And whenever people used to come in with signs for events, he used to ask, do you have music at your function? And if you didn't, he would kind of plug himself and get ingrained and get it that way. Like I said, I'm not even going to go deep on what he did musically because it would just be robbing him of his greatness. He was born Edward Kennedy Ellington, but because he was so charismatic, so smooth, and so dapper, they gave him the nickname Duke. So we can rest in peace, show a little love one time to the late, great Mr. Duke Ellington.
Yeah. Young Duke.
Yeah, this brother was on another level. Like, what he could do musically, he was writing pieces by ear. Like, before he could even read music, he could just hear stuff. He would take songs and rework them to where most people thought it was an original piece. They didn't even recognize staple music. And, his orchestra that he incorporated, everybody who came through his camp was just, if you were just touched by him, your game elevated to another level, like, insanely. One of my favorite songs on the planet was what he did with John Coltrane in A Sentimental Mood. Like I said, talk about Spike Lee, talk about these brothers out there, Will Packer. Like, tell the Duke Ellington story.
That's the real deal. Like,
all the people who he touched through that entire era, like through the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, after the war, like, just... He was high yellow if you saw him. He was light skinned, but his family was real deep on his black awareness, come through the Jim Crow. his grandparents were slaves. Like, I mean, all the things that he saw. I would love to see a really introspective, like, real story about what that man did.
And it probably won't ever happen.
That's a brother with a real, like, his personal life, like they did to Ray Charles. I mean, this dude was on some other stuff. But I just think throw that out there personally.
Dope, brother. You always come with the brothers, the sisters, acknowledging them if they have been or they have not been acknowledged.
Yeah.
We appreciate you breaking it down. Black excellence at its best.
You got to highlight that stuff because it's important that we tell our stories and that we're that we care. That we don't just let what we do, the mark that we leave on this world, just come and go, or just fall victim to just accepting what other people want to label us as. That importance to highlight our greatness. Like, this dude was a genius, like I said, other level. And you look at all the other cultures that were influenced by him. He 50 years of just insane talent in music. He got every award you can think of. He got a Pulitzer after he died. He got a presidential medal. He's in the Grammy Hall of Fame. I think he got like 24 Grammys, something like that. 14 Grammys, 25 nominations. This dude was just like star on Hollywood Walk of Fame. He's got honorary degrees from multiple universities for what he did in music and culture. Like, smart dude, charismatic dude, great dude. Just double shout out to dude. But we got a lot going on this week.
We do.
First off, let me give a shout out to you because you took time out to bury Accius press tour to do this episode of the Say Something podcast.
Man. It's just been a grind, man. Interview, radio interview, then a news interview. The young bull Savante Clark is about to run for mayor.
I saw that.
He made his announcement.
Filed his paperwork.
He really is like stepping. I seen a flyer. This is still when he was kind of like a little off, and I was kind of like, "Is this dude for real?" And he's for real. I did an interview about that. Local news station, Fox News. It's a love-hate relationship with me and the media because I know they try to create a narrative, and I know it is my duty to make sure clearly the narrative that I am going to portray, that I am going to put out for the public, whether it's locally or nationally, it's the right representation of black people in every way. It's the truth. It's not sugar-coated, and it's not compromising, and it doesn't put us in a bad light. So having the conversation about Clark, it was interesting because there were times where I really felt that this dude was just so off.
Yeah.
Like, why are they continuing to put the cameras on him? Why are they continuing to create now his story instead of his brother's story? But through the time of processing, getting help, being able to now, because you get thrown into this spotlight, your brother is dead, you probably got your own things that you're dealing with as a man, a black man coming up into society. Now, here it is, you're being asked to be the spokesperson, you're asked to be a leader, you're asked to be
put on national television with a camera in your face.
This, this civil rights leader and a community activist, as so many of us who have taken that mantle have been prepped on, have been done for some years. When the shit hit the fan, we were prepared, we were ready. Like,
already been mentored, already been to
we've been sculpted,
yeah.
We've been to the terrain, we've been prepped, we've been battle tested, and here is this young dude that the last thing that he probably thought in his life that he would be talking about police brutality and talking about the police killing his brother. So he had a stretch where there was a lot of pain, some ignorance, pain, a lot of misconception, a lot of wrong moves, just a lot of hype at the same time, and being in that spotlight. But he's matured a lot. I've grown to understand him a little bit better. He's grown to understand me a little bit better, and been in a few different collective partnerships in Sacramento, and he's asked me to help him on a few different things. So when the news came to talk to me, I wasn't going to sit there and speak ill about the young dude. I wasn't going to sit there and say he's a freaking idiot, because I'm sure that's what they probably wanted me to say on some kind of level.
Yeah.
Oh, well, he doesn't have experience. I didn't say any of that. I definitely said when they were talking about the inexperience that he has, I just looked at Donald Trump. So, well, look at our president we have. What experience does he have? Besides, running big businesses, he doesn't have any political experience.
No.
Maybe probably buying a few people off, but he don't got no political experience. So, prior to becoming our president. So I look at it, you turn tragedy into triumph. He's trying to make due in part to his brother's legacy, and he has great ideas. Is it going to be an uphill battle? For sure. Is there a real like long shot for this? Hell yes. But if he's doing something positive and this is what he wants to do, is what he wants to bear and help continue to pull his brother's legacy, I'm all for it.
And the upside to this is that he doesn't have to win. So the fact is that if he brings up the right agendas and brings up the right information, it will almost somewhat force the hand of whoever he's running against to address some things.
Yeah.
And so if you've got a candidate, like I said, even if he's a distant fourth, distant third, whatever, but at the town hall, if it gets that far, the stuff that he'll bring up subject-wise, there'll be some subject matter that he will bring up that other people running probably wouldn't. Mm-hmm. And so they wouldn't have to worry about addressing or having a rebuttal for. And if he's got the right people around him, to what direction and to what, and I'm sure he's going to stay on the police bill of rights and stay on law enforcement addressing civilians and practices and that nature. If he gets a real good point plan, like I said, he doesn't have to win. He get enough stuff addressed, enough stuff brought to the forefront. This is Sacramento. If you're, a lot of people think, they think California, they think San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Diego. It is the capital of California. Mm-hmm. What is California, like the fifth or sixth, grossing? Our money here is one of the biggest.
We're only the fifth?
Something on the planet. Like we do more money in this one state than most countries.
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think in the United States.
No. I'm talking about in the world. Like we do more money in this state than most nations.
And we sure do feel that in every other way.
Yeah, and this is the capital. So you become mayor of Sacramento. Like I said, you make major headlines. So
it's a long shot, but
like I said, just the attention that he can bring
setting
to
it up for
subjects.
him because he is a character, and in the moments that he had all eyes on me.
Yeah,
there was so much he could have done, but he was misguided, misdirected, miseducated, and he was in fucking pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and he was definitely, and there was so much trauma that was going through that moment. Now, especially with people like myself, that's been around him, been able to give him different perspective, give him some insight that he didn't really listen to before. And I didn't really want to be around him during that moment because it was so much energy that I was like, it wouldn't have been probably a good moment because there was a lot of stuff that a lot of us was trying to get done, and some of it got blocked because there were so many different shenanigans, But because he is such a character and he does have some charisma, and there are some issues he can well aware and be very candid about, there is going to be that focus. You're going to have a kind of different nucleus with them. Some of the more hip or some more hood black folks coming and different communities of black folks coming in Sacramento that will just support him because he's one of our own. That is going to be very interesting to see and watch how it all plays out.
Well, yeah, the two part for that is what I think is number one, his past mistakes will actually help bring attention to his stuff, because there'll be people they'll bring up the Don Lemon interview, they'll bring up the issues where he's telling the mayor to shut the F up. They'll bring those.
They already are.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that when they bring those things up to address to highlight them, if he's in a good position, he's going to get extra attention to see, is this going to be a train wreck? Is this going to be, a big, we're just looking to see the circus. And if he's a little better off, if he's doing okay, I think that it'll be, it can work out for him. The second part to that is that he's a good example if it works out as well. Like I said, I saw some of the stuff that was written up about, it sounds like he's in a better place. And if you look at a position where he can reflect on, where I was at when people were trying to tell me the right thing, or trying to tell me, and I wasn't in a position to hear it. Now I'm in a position to hear it, and I'm trying to make some better moves. I think that is a microcosm of most young people. You know, when you're young, you think you've got it figured out, or you can only see through your perspective. And because of what you're going through, or what you think, or whatever's already in your brain, where you think you've got it figured out, you can't take it in. You can't hear your parents. You can't hear your teachers. You can't. Grandma don't understand. You know, you don't get it. You old. You don't know. You know, and then after life sits you down for a minute. When life puts you on timeout, or life puts one across your jaw, you're in a position to where, okay, well, what were you saying again? You know, and then maybe you can start listening and getting some good information. So, I'm not saying I necessarily, think you'd be the best mayor, but I'm glad that I'm glad that there's some growth going on, and I'm glad that there was, trying to do something different.
Definite growth. It's always beautiful to see growth in anybody. You have a dream, I say go ahead and apply it. Don't deny yourself of what could be and what should be, what may be. And we will definitely see, but it will definitely be 2020, an interesting moment of how it all plays out.
Yes.
Will it burn before it begins, or will it really burn and create conversation that Sacramento has denied and will be forced to have? That's what I'm excited about, because I know I'll be a part of the conversation. I will be a part of moving the dial, because there's a lot of things that this city and many cities throughout America refuses to deal with, besides the mental health aspects, besides the police brutality, besides the high rising of rent, the wages, even though that we're giving you $15, but then you're upping up everything else.
Yeah.
So the $15 to $17 that I'm making, if rent is $3,000 for a one bedroom, $15 don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting moment in SAC.
Like I said, it's good when we can see folks who are growing and evolving and trying to do something better with themselves, and just trying to be better folks. But everybody doesn't necessarily do that.
Nah, man.
Everybody doesn't always make the best decisions, and we got a lot of folks out here who are wrong in these streets.
Dead ass.
Anybody in particular, Barry?
Man, you know what, brother? I was just going through my timeline. I was sitting there looking at some of the news headlines just to see who was going to be the silly Negro of the week. And lo and behold, as I ran through back and forth, this guy, that guy, should I go ahead and do another Kanye? Is it going to be Messy Marv again? And even the other brother that we'll be talking about later on, but he's not really a Negro, but he hangs out with a lot of Negroes. I saw our winner and Adrian, what is it, Broner? Broner?
Yeah.
Adrian Broner?
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, because Adrian Broner was a guy that you would remember his last name. But nowadays, all you remember Broner for is his antics, his shenanigans, and his ignorance. And his ignorance was at an all-time high. The flashy boxer who has now probably been more known for his abrasive antics, whether it's in the ring or outside of the ring, whether it's police arrests or whether it's after the fight. He creates these kind of moments where you're asking yourself, this guy got to be on something, right?
Didn't you just lose?
It's like, and the winner was him and the loser was you.
Yeah.
Adrian Broner, he just was at one of his best and one of the most ignorant, what was it? What's that? What do they do? The boxing thing that they do.
The weigh-in?
The weigh-in. I don't even think it was a weigh-in.
Press conference?
Press conference, okay. It was. And it was a press conference with him and Pacquiao. Out of all of the years they could have, should have, would have, now Pacquiao trying to keep on to his career and Broner is just trying to get a check. So here it is. Maniau and Broner were sitting and, they were doing their little press run.
Little jaw jacking back at each other.
The whole piece went crazy, and it went more crazy when Broner started utilizing his ignorance and his stereotypical self of why people look at black people the way they do because of guys like him. He made such comments in this press run. I got the whole hood behind me. You got the Philippines. I don't even know how to spell the Philippines. And I'm thinking like, and then it doesn't stop from there. It gets worse. He actually spells hood. Hood. And the shenanigans of it while he was cussing, talking about Manny Pacquiao's feet, talking about he was going to not only slap but beat up another reporter if they wouldn't stop disrespecting him, and talking about Floyd Mayweather, because remember, him and Floyd Mayweather were brothers in arms.
Yeah,
once
Floyd
upon a
bounced
time.
once he took an L.
Exactly, and he took a few L's.
Once he took that first L, Floyd got a little distance. The second L, a little bit further. The third L, it was like, man.
It's like, now I don't even know your name, and I won't even give you a fight. It just was perpetuating the ignorance that is a lot of brothers who, I'm not going to say they're uneducated, because they're educated enough to understand how to play with the media. Yeah. I'm not going to sit there and say that they're outwardly ignorant, even though it comes off like that. But just brothers that are so in tune with just themselves and how it looks to them, not to anybody else, and how it plays out to them and not how it plays out to the black community, and kind of what they're showing as grown-ass men to our young people. Really no real models, just models for the gram, models for the social media, not models for the Twitter, models for the likes, and not really caring about reputation overall, just worried about the fuckery, just worried about the clownness, and not even being the type of men that we want. A man that is going to be about his business. You can have some fun with it, but just don't be an ass crack and act like you've never, ever, ever, ever had any kind of home training or had any money in your life. For this, my man Adrian, who will probably take another L against Manny Pacquiao, and hopefully that'll be his career-ending boxing match, gets our silly Negro of the week.
Yeah, no clap.
It's like literally when he said something to the sense of, on God, I'm finna whoop his ass or knock him out. And he said, on God and them. And I don't even know who them is.
Yeah.
Because it's going viral. Yeah. The ignorance, the 30 to 40 second lines of ignorance. And it's just like, this dude just needs to give it up, become the rapper that he wants to be, become this street lord that he wants to be, and stop boxing.
Yeah, because we got a lot of people out there who think that, I say it all the time, the streets don't love you. And all these people out here who keep trying to hold on to an image or hold on to what they think is what they should be. This is Adrian Broner, what he was running with 50 for a half second, Floyd and all them. Well, here's the difference between them. They're winners. You may or may not like 50 Cent, but he's a winner.
True.
You may or may not like Floyd Mayweather, but in his craft, in his business, he's a winner.
True.
Once you start losing, you ain't in the winner's circle no more.
And then when you're losing, and you're not only not losing gracefully, you're losing and you're still talking shit.
Yeah, and you're putting out all this stuff to save face, to save your ego. You think, all this promoting negative imagery. You're doing all this. You're doing it for the gram. You're doing it for the likes. You're doing it for the snap. And we got a lot of people out there who don't realize sometimes the amount of influence that they have. We got a lot of young people there were a lot of young people who looked up to Adrian Broner. Like, he was their guy. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of people who wanted to emulate him like they emulate Floyd.
And there's a lot of, and then I think Broner is also trying to emulate a lot of other boxers because of his persona, his flair, his cocky prowess. But at the end of the day, he just didn't live up to the hype. Yeah,
because that when you try to put forth a certain image because you think that's what sells, or because you think that because it gets you clicks, it gets you likes, something that's important is that you got to understand that when you keep trying to promote a certain life, it's a matter of time before that life actually comes and finds you. And when you keep trying to say, he said, we're talking about Tupac, about how when he did that, the scene in Juice, how he adapted Bishop to his life.
Man.
Like, and it got to the point to where he had so much imagery that he had created a full character and a persona of Tupac with a 2 as opposed to Tupac with a T, that he had created this world around him that he became a prisoner of.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk so much for so long and you project yourself for so long, that's why there's so many conflicting stories about what kind of man he was. Because people will sit there and talk about the guy in magazines and these clips, but then when you talk to everybody who knew him, they have all these different stories, because depending upon how well you got to know him, how many of those layers got peeled back.
Mm-hmm.
And about, he just a genuine soul and this and all these different faces of him. Well, when you continue to project something out there, and especially if it's got, negative connotations, you out there talking about trying to promote a life of violence. You out there trying to promote a life of violence and gangs and guns and drugs and criminal element. You could promote that for so long. You could present that for so long. Eventually, someone's going to come test your gangster.
Test my gangster.
Eventually, someone's going to see if you about that life. Eventually, or you're going to dig yourself in a hole deep enough that you can't get out of. And that brings us to a dude out here who's literally dealing with that right this second.
Man.
He's sweating it out in a cell right now. Trey. Rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Trey.
And I'm going to be 100% aside from the song with Nicki Minaj, the Fifi song, because it's with Nicki, so it got a little more pub. I couldn't name you one Tekashi 6ix9ine song.
But I can name you about 10 6ix9ine incidents.
Yes. If you're not familiar with who he is, if you look at him, he may look Hispanic or Asian to you. But I mean, just because, he's a guy with rainbow colored hair. He's got like the rainbow colored grill, lots of chains on him. You've probably seen him with 50 Cent for a minute in some of his
you've seen him with Treyway.
Well, just for folks who may not, the name may not stand out to you. Depending on how old you are.
Hey, everybody knows.
Hey, depending on how old you are. And so this dude, he recently just got picked up after a Ray J-ish rant on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne, DJ Envy, and Angela Yee. Found himself in custody on some federal charges of racketeering, gun possession, and orchestrating hits on individuals.
Sounds like a Bobby Shmurda case.
Yeah, this dude who's a known troll. He's probably, shy of 50 Cent, or you could say they're 1A, 1B, or hip hop artists who got the
trolling. He's a gangster.
Always talking that Treyway. If you don't know what Treyway is, it's in reference to a New York City gang, a New York gang out there.
And his manager, what is it, Shoddy?
The Treyway gang is mostly known for not only violence, but they're real big in selling fentanyl and narcotics to the
Shoddy Treyway.
And so that group. So recently he did a Breakfast Club interview where he had kind of denounced the streets when he was saying that allegedly his management and the folks in his circle had been stealing money from him. That he was he has his asking price for his shows. He was under the impression he was getting paid $300,000 for his shows, and it was brought to his attention he had been paid $3.6 million. And from that, he alleges to say that he fired the entire crew, everybody who was
Treyway, all
that Treyway folks who was with him. He went on the Breakfast Club saying F Treyway, F the old management, F the booking agent, F everybody, Bad Boy as a staff, record labels, and mother effing crew. Like he was just on some Pac hit him up stuff on the interview. And right after he finishes with his interview, he's approached by the federales.
Man.
Who told him that they've
hoping that the federales don't raid.
Yes. After his interview, he was saying that they have wiretaps of the individuals in question, saying that they wanted to, quote, super violate him after his rant on the Breakfast Club.
That sounds bad.
And that you need to get with the program because it's about to go all bad for you. Come with us and let's talk this out. He declined, and immediately after he was indicted on racketeering and several other charges. So he in a cell right now. He was denied bail primarily because of his past criminal arrests, probation violations, some of that stuff stemming from an issue he had where he was arrested for sexual behaviors and activities with an underage girl on tape. It was a 13-year-old girl who was seen performing oral sex on another individual in the group, and he's seen behind her, like kind of thrusting and, you know, screaming Treyway and a whole bunch of other stuff, you know, in the video. So he got probation for that. Bunch of several other run-ins, whatever. So this dude who's been known for trolling, for talking mess, for being all about that street life, screaming the gangs he's from, taking pictures with automatic weapons. The feds got him. They've got him with pictures. Like, he videotaped a robbery of a gentleman where they stole his backpack. When the police raided his apartment or his home, they found the backpack with the victim's ID in it, as well as they found firearms. They've got pictures of him on scene of shootings. Like, they got a lot on the dude. You know, when keeping it real goes wrong, they got Tekashi 6ix9ine in the cufties.
Where do I start with this? Like, where do I start? Where do I begin? This was a moment. This was a moment, and I've tried and I've attempted to stay away from talking about this individual. Not the simple fact that I don't knock his hustle. Not the simple fact that I'm, you know, jealous of his success. Not the simple fact that I don't think he's relevant, but just for the simple fact that I didn't want to continue to help the madness grow. Yeah. And as I watched the madness grow, me allowing myself to not participate in any commentary as I usually do on Facebook with certain individuals or things of that nature that are changing, you know, certain things with our youth, influencing our youth. That is a bad spot that we're in the black community. And though this dude isn't, from what I know, he's Mexican, Puerto Rican, or whatever like that. Yeah. You know, he hung out with a whole bunch of Negroes that were Bloods, the Treyway gang, and his notoriety began to rise to the point where I had to start talking about him because my youngins were starting to ask me questions and say, hey, do you like his songs? And giving me education on some of his older stuff where I was more related to more of the newer stuff because more of the newer stuff has kind of like crossed over, so to speak. Okay. And I remember just saying to one of my young people, the kind of energy that 6ix9ine is reaching for is a kind of energy that I don't want to hear no one say R.I.P. or free 6ix9ine, because he's going to get exactly what he's asking for. And I said that about 2 weeks ago to a bunch of young people. Yeah. And I just watched it all play out, from the altercation that he had in L.A. with YG's crew, from the shooting he had at his video shoot in the Beverly Hills that had Kanye and Nicki Minaj, and then turn around, and we just talking about the last 2 weeks, and then turn around and have an interview where you're now disassociating yourself from all of these goons that have held you down, your record label that has held you down, and being on your social media platforms as well, doing kind of the same thing. And even before that, getting put on probation for something that you should have got locked up for at least 5 years. Yeah. But getting put on probation and then leaving the court and one of your people gets shot.
Yeah, at a party for only getting probation, there was a shooting.
Yeah, I think it was a dinner that was going on. Going to happen. But yeah, whatever it is, they're going to some place.
That was the second shooting. There was two. There was a shooting at the dinner with the guy who approached the security with the chair, and then there was a different shooting. Okay, well, that's what I'm saying. This dude has been. That lets you know how he's doing. So
overall, what this dude's track record? It's getting into multiple situations when what was revealing is the LA situation, because this wasn't the first time that he had got approached in a situation in LA. Yeah. Once before, a few years back, it was, probably last year, I think it was after an award show. But what was telling about the LA situation, because this is what gangsters do nowadays, as his crew is recording and the other crew is recording, the other crew is not allowing his crew to get in, and he's out there while bodyguards are everywhere and those guys are yelling, and he's on the other side. He's yelling, I'm in your city, I'm in your hood, man, acting as if there was going to be something that's going to pop off. Like, he's basically bragging and boasting that he's in your city. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
The thing that I can't stand is, one, how in the hell did we let suckers get into doors of real shit? That's one. Two, how in the hell did this mother effer get a pass for so long to perpetuate not only trolling, fake gangsterism, as well as really take a culture that he wasn't branded from or bred from and really make so much money. And then the third thing is, again, listen to Uncle B, kids. This shows you, by depicting this gangster lifestyle and living this gangster fairy tale, there is no wins in this. There's only L's. Here is a young man who's only 22 years old that got influenced by all the guys that he got arrested with the racketeering charges, who are close to 40 years old, utilizing and manipulating this young man to do these acts. And he felt bravehearted because he knew that he had a ruthless bunch of gangsters that had his back until they was ready to not have his back anymore, until he started talking about he was about to cut the well. And now you have an oh well moment. I saw an interview just the other day. Fat Joe sat there with this young bull and explained to him, said, hey, I was in your position before. The feds was trying to get me. They was trying to shut me down. I had to slow my pace up. I'm telling you that you have an opportunity to go a different route. You have an opportunity to do something great. You need to slow the fuck down. And guess what? The kid didn't slow the fuck down. So I am actually excited that we can get rid of more of the chaotic poison that continues to stream our line of hip hop and get back to the basics. And the lesson hopefully is shown to all young people that feel and think they can continue to be a part of the gangster lifestyle and be a part of the rap lifestyle and have them coincide without some serious repercussions. Here is your lesson. No one learns from Bobby Shmurda. No one learns from A.R.Ab. No one learns from Rolo. No one learns from the Atlanta Mozzie that got killed. No one learns from the other rapper that got killed in Pittsburgh that was about to get indicted as well. No one learns from the young dude who got killed, who got ambushed and got robbed in Florida. Nobody learns about these things, but you guys want to continue to try to push the ante as if people are not paying attention.
And paying attention is exactly what they was doing. Like I said, he went on the radio talking mess about the group he came from, and immediately he was approached by the feds because they said they already had him on. They had wiretapped the conversation. I mean, they had already been watching him. They had already been paying attention to the group. And what people don't get sometimes when they think about, oh man, it's this street stuff, it's whatever. They already had information on the gun stuff because he videotaped the stuff for social media. The feds came after him for the racketeering stuff. You know, that's when you're messing with the church's money. You know, government don't like you making a dime that they're not getting a cut of. And, you know, all these little, you know, dealing with the police department where they kept giving them probation and a slap on the wrist. You've been shorting Uncle Sam, which means if you are not trying to do some time, you won't have to snitch. So this is where you're at now. You're in prison in general population. Your mama's in protective custody for a minute. Your pockets aren't that deep. You know, you're gonna pay whatever little money he's made that he flaunts for the gram is about to go to legal fees. And the only way he's not going to sit up in a cell is if he gets to singing. And for a lot of our young people out there, they don't have that legal fee money. And the police is not putting your mama in protective custody. So watching these dudes, I thought something that was funny and very telling is that they asked 50 Cent about when he got bopped. And 50 Cent's quote was, "Don't call me."
What did he say?
50 Cent, I'm sure there was some joking in that, but you got popped by the feds. 50 was like, "Don't call me. Like don't call my phone. Like you under federal indictment. Like I can't touch you."
Let's give some real breakdown on what feds mean for the boys and girls and for the people that may not be up to par with understanding the legal system.
That's the federal government.
Let's wait real quick.
Okay.
You are not dealing with state police, not dealing with the local branch.
Mm-mm.
You are dealing with the feds, the same feds that took out the Black Panthers, the same feds that when they come, their conviction rate is like a 95%, 90. Like they're going to get who and what they want. They don't lose often. And if they lose, trust me, they're going to come back for round 2.
Okay, the biggest differentiation between dealing with your local, state, federal, local will get you with the suspicion of. You can be approached by your local law enforcement under the sheer suspicion that something don't quite look right. If you get approached by the state, like the state comes after you, they've got a strong hunch and minimal at best information. Typically, they've got something that points in your direction. When the federal government approaches you, they already know. So when you reach that point that the feds are pulling you aside and picking you up to have a conversation, they already know.
It's now, what deal do you want to make?
Yeah.
Who do you want to snitch on?
We may not have enough to convict you right now, but we already know who you, because we're not going to jeopardize the case. So we're not going to pop the low-level dudes first. We're not going to disrupt your business because we need to get more intel. We're not going to do anything that rocks the boat to stop you from doing what you're doing so we can continue to build our case. So if we ever reach the point as the federal government, the law enforcement division, to actually approach you, that means we've got more than enough information but approaching you is not going to jeopardize an indictment. That means we've already got more than enough on the books, which means if I'm approaching you, you are not who I'm here for. So if I'm approaching you because you're connected to whom I want, if you don't get approached, you're who they're looking for.
You must now take in consideration your future for your family and yourself and the rap career that you may never, ever have the way you probably thought it was going to be. Because what's going to have to be the decision is, you going to be a soldier and ride it and stand tall, or you going to be a mouse and you're going to snitch, eat the cheese.
And with him, going with that is that he already publicly denounced the street ties. You came on a nationally syndicated radio show separating ties and saying F the group that you did the street stuff with. So when you go to jail, you ain't got the street, no one's got your back. But if you're just average dude in an average town wherever, imagine that conversation when they're like, look, in his case, the mandatory minimum is 32 years. Like if you get a conviction across the board of what's already on the table,
you're gonna have to take a deal.
The minimum, when it comes to mandatory minimums, like if you get the conviction, it comes with 32 years. So imagine when you John Q whomever on the street, and when they will approach you with that, and all these dudes who think, these young guys out there who think that that's my brother. Now, that's my family. Like, we done come up together. We done dirt together. I know his mama. He know my mama. Like, we tight. When all of a sudden you're 22 years old and you get hit with the, at best, you going to be home at 55?
Nah.
Just off top. You going to come home at 55? And that's the best case scenario?
And you know, as an artist, you were popping and you really believe in your mind that, maybe I should go ahead and try to save myself because you think you're going to still pop. Because I know that's what he's thinking. Because those guys he's thinking in his mind, they were the muscle, but they weren't the gem. They weren't the jewel. They weren't the commodity. I
can find more of them. They can't find me.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about the dude, just the average dude. Because we got a lot of young dudes out there who think that, nah, man, my boy wouldn't snitch on me. My brother wouldn't turn his back on me. Brothers are snitching every day, B. There's like
you're gonna have to. He's gonna, dude. He first of all, let's be very clear.
Yeah,
he's a cartoon character.
Yes.
Okay. He's not about that life. And though he might have done some shit now, it's just like the kid that now has been, put in a position to where he feels himself a little bit more because he knows the muscle he got, right? Yeah. It's just a little brother that now is with the big brother. The little brother can't do shit for shit, but he's with big bro.
And everybody
so now
big
his chest is out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at him, when I first caught eyes on this kid, I was just like, who the fuck is this clown? Because he had the rainbow shit. It just was like, it was too weird for me. In my idea of what this new rap is, I was like, yo, I'm getting a little bit too old, because it was rainbow, it was red flags, it was all this gang shit, this blood gang shit. I'm like, whoa, okay. But then I started watching this young bull, his notoriety just rise and become
king of New York.
He claimed it.
Yeah,
well, but and the thing about even saying he was king of New York, it's just one of those things that you get popular and you say it. It's just like how everyone else has done it. Lil Wayne said, I'm the greatest rapper alive. And people just buy into it because they just want to live into the hype. But what thing that he had that was different, because his story is a little similar to what we saw with 50 Cent, with the trolling, with this kind of, I'm going to rush this kind of, this industry and take it by storm and do it kind of my way. 50 Cent and him had two different things. 50 Cent had a machine called Interscope with Trey and Eminem and Jew Money. And what 6ix9ine had was the internet, where he could create this imagery. He could be able to troll, as well as having a bunch of gangsters that was ready, because they knew he was the meal ticket to lay down and be as official and as real as he needed them to be. And it worked. But what doesn't work is when you continue to perpetuate a lifestyle that you are not fine with, and that starts creating a dangerous atmosphere for other individuals. I guarantee you, when it was all hood shit, they don't come. But once you start navigating some of your bullshit and some of your madness, like you have a shooting in a Beverly Hills home that you're renting, that's now putting you more on the radar. That's getting people to call and say, hey, you need to arrest this guy, to get rid of him. Because I know the feds were going to come, but I'm sure, and I want to believe, they weren't going to come as fast as they did, because they like to marinate on cases. I believe that he put more attention on himself with now these beefs spilling over to the suburban area, to some of the suburban places, and to these places where now you got some good old white folks that are feeling a little bit tense compared to just some hood Negroes around the block.
Well, that's the big part there. And what a lot of people don't get when it comes to these major indictments, you're building a case. You're putting together pieces to a puzzle, trying to make something fit. Why I reference the Treyway gang, their big thing is they move fentanyl through New York. That's a huge problem. Because fentanyl is not a black person's problem. We're not the ones who are ODing on fentanyl everywhere. These gangs are moving fentanyl through suburbia. Through white kids are the ones who are ODing on this stuff. And so, them pill poppers, that's not us. But we just happen to be the foot soldiers in this particular case. So when they're looking to connect those dots, he's the linchpin for what they're trying to stop. Tekashi 6ix9ine is not out there moving weight with that fentanyl stuff.
No.
But he's linked to the people who are.
He sure is.
And when they saw that window of opportunity of saying, he's the weakest link, he's the dude right now, that's the vulnerable dude, let's get him to roll over on everybody. Like I said, you may not be a rapper with $1 million in your pocket. You may not be, just young dudes out there and girls. It's not just, young boys is doing it. You may be somebody out there who you think that you dotting all the I's and crossing the T's, and it's that person that you be messing with that gets caught up. It's the person. You may be solid. You ain't never gonna snitch on nobody. But the person you run with gets put in a compromising situation. Who's 22, looking at coming home damn near as a senior citizen. And they ain't about to do that. The issue they got with Tekashi, he wasn't out there shooting and firing guns. They got him with video instructing people to do it. Like, it's one thing if you the dude is bossing up and they got you, knocking folks out and pistol whipping folks and doing. You ain't even that dude.
Hey.
Like, you the dude that said, yeah, get him.
Yep. He's the instigator. And the thing about it is, you would, like, boys and girls, again, listen to Uncle B. learn from the mistakes of Suge Knight. And their manager, his alleged manager, Shawty, who started claiming they were the new Death Row and they were like Suge Knight and them. Is that what you want to be?
Maybe literally.
Is that what you want to be? Like, really?
Suge gonna die in prison.
Listen, Death Row had a great run, but Suge is in prison and Dre left Death Row to create Aftermath and he's okay. What folks don't understand, this kind of lifestyle, when you create this kind of energy, when you get enemies, when you're trolling, when you're going ahead telling people to suck your D, when you're disrespecting people's wives, when you're disrespecting people's dead homies, when you're disrespecting people's hoods, their mothers, this ain't gonna get you nowhere, all for the likes, all for this attention, and then you want to turn around and ask for the audience that you've been showing your ass to sincerely give you some empathy, because you are now saying people were stealing, people were stealing money, and that's really not who I was, when that's what got you all the money. That's what got you all the likes. That's what got you all the views. So this is you now. So you can't go backwards and now say, well, I'm not really that gangster. Now we want to really see how gangster you really are. Now we're going to see, because from the stories of it, and let's go back into the kidnapping, dude's got a real detailed freaking career. The kidnapping that a lot of us thought was a made-up kidnapping, I still don't know what it could have been. But from what I've heard, the rumor has it that it was one of his people. It was one of his people. One of his people that wasn't eating. So this whole line of agreement that you had with Treyway was based on extortion.
Yeah.
It's almost like they were using you as their ass clown and their meal ticket as their bitch. They was pimping you out. And until you started saying, hey, I'm a little bit bigger than this Treyway thing. And once they started seeing,
let me show you what it really is.
Exactly. The gangster shit really came out. And unfortunately about the gangster shit, though you're not that, you cannot separate it with this indictment. You cannot separate it with this Fed case. You can't separate it with this racketeering charge. You can't separate it because it is connected to what you created, the energy that you brought. Every person that you beef with are sitting back laughing at your bitch ass at this particular time, because they knew, everybody saw this coming. It's like me waiting for the moment. And when I saw him talk about his friend that passed, the young bull that got shot, what is it?
Triple X.
Yeah, Triple X. Yeah, Concepcion, whatever is his name. You know, he got killed. There was a somber moment of him saying, hey, you know, it's made me think about stuff and refocus. But it was like the dude's energy became even worse. And I blame this on people that continue to celebrate ignorance. I blame it on you people that continue to view. I blame it on you people that continue to like, to continue to celebrate, and not sit there and really say, young man, we don't even want to see that, or just tuned it off so he wouldn't get big. I blame it on the TMZs. I blame it on these media outlets that now started to see him as a commodity instead of seeing him as a young man that needed help, a young man that was going on the wrong path, a young man that was being influenced by the streets, by the fame, by the bitches, by the glory, and about having this celebrity status for being ignorance. We have now picked up more often in this society ignorance over a reality that people really need to truly live, and that's a reality of who they really are for self, compared to just creating these fantasy island characters and making money off of it and expecting us to have sympathy when all shit breaks loose. I don't have no sympathy for none of this shit.
No, and something that's a really good point attached to that. Somebody said you can't sit there and spend 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, very detailing, stitching this outfit. You done sat there and was real cross-stitch. You done put the buttons on it, the zippers, the lapels. You got the collar. You got this custom-made suit that you put on perfectly to show the world. And then when it goes wrong, then try to take it off and say it don't fit you. Like, you done created this full image of who you said you are, what you about. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Then you get popped and it goes south.
I'm not.
Now you don't want to play no more.
Get out of here.
Now you want to sit there and say, but I didn't really, I didn't mean it. I was just playing. I was just talking. Now you moonwalking like Michael Jackson in the courtroom trying to disassociate yourself from all the things that now you're going to have to deal with the repercussions for. And in this dude's case, you're going to have to go back to formula on everything they've associated with, every video, everybody who's in the background. You're going to have to attest for why was he there with you. You're going to have to go back and say, why did you give him money? You're going to have to go back and say, why did this money go towards that? You're going to have to sit there and account for every dollar you spent, every minute you spent, and every person you were around if you're trying to go home. Which means that whole group that you've been running with, this is a twofer. This whole group that you're going to have to disassociate with and roll over on everybody you was with. And if you on the other side, this is when it becomes very important to be mindful of the company you keep. There's a whole lot of people who act like they're down till shit goes down.
You know what? It's funny to me that when you just see the Bobby Shmurda case.
Yeah.
Totally
in New York.
In New York. Identical. It's funny to me when you see the Troy Ave case.
Yeah.
In New York.
Another New Yorker.
And also as well as the Radiohead, not the Radiohead, excuse me, the podcaster who was on the streets before that actually got arrested who actually took a deal. I forget the brother's name. Taxstone was building out and they came and got him and now they're waiting for Troy Ave. And Troy Ave, there's been still like 2 other attempts for his life after the fact, right? And, you haven't heard that much from him because I think that his character and his bravado was at a high for a second, but it kind of dwindled down, especially when the snitching allegations came out because everyone's like, you're basically saying in a song, like, what will you do? I don't really owe him nothing, so I'm going to snitch. It was like, whoa, here comes gangster Troy Ave. Yeah. Now you snitching. You would think.
Justified snitching. Justifiable snitching.
Justified snitching. You would think that folks would take advice from the advice that's given without it being given by looking at what's actually going on and knowing how hard New York goes, knowing what New York is the state that created hip hop police, knowing that they have a force, a hip hop task force, that is just focused on them. Yeah. So it goes from the hip hop task force, and then the hip hop task force is like, oh, I think we have a little bit something bigger than this. Yeah. Well, let's call some of our Fed buddies. Hey guys, and it's like, oh, great. Once the industry is done using you and taking you for all the money, there will be a new Negro next year. So it's better for you to save yourself before you get ate up. And the fact that when I look at AR-AB in Philly, the thing that all these artists have done, the Rollo in Atlanta, who got busted, actually I think he got busted somewhere, I think in California, trying to, bring some birds and bring it somewhere else. And now 6ix9ine and his whole team, you look at the same thing that has got them killed. It was their ego and their love of talking reckless, whether it's on some kind of social media platform or some kind of place where they would get views upon views to continue their gangsterized image. AR-AB, I believe he's an official real Negro when it comes to street shit. I've heard enough about him to kind of know that dude's the official guy, right? Yeah. 6ix9ine, character. Made up.
Like with that Bobby Shmurda.
Dumb boy.
Bobby Shmurda could have got out sooner.
He stood up.
And he split the time.
He had to.
He split the time with the homie. He said,
stood up.
He said, instead of me getting out early, split the time so we get the exact same amount of time. And I'll stay in longer so we in here together.
But listen to this. You're talking about his homeboy that, they did most of the rapping. We're not talking about the guys that did the murder, the guys that did anything. Those guys got to see 54, thinking they was going to go beat it, thinking they was going to go to the judge instead of taking a plea deal or saying, they went to court and got canned.
But what my point with that dude with Bobby, so Bobby was like, look, I'll take this time, I'll sit in there, we'll sit on it. There's dudes who go there all the time who sit on it. Tekashi ain't that dude.
This ain't gonna happen.
And why I reference the difference, because like I said, there's a lot of young dudes out there who got more Tekashi in them than they got Bobby Shmurda.
No.
And there's a whole lot of dudes out there who are just with people who are trying to look good, and you may not be doing it for the gram, but you're trying to do it for the hood.
Tekashi's not a stand-up. I don't look at
it. But I'm talking about, that's what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying, I'm agree with you. I don't see the stand-up in him.
Which is why there's a lot of young people out there who got more of him in them.
Yes.
And
a lot more. And that's why I get frustrated off his influence, because we know that this is not his reality, but this is his front. This is his character. And, we've seen what's even happened to the great ones like Tupac or great ones like Biggie. The one thing that I know, if Pac was here today, would have been like, damn, I should have just got out on some cool shit, not got out on some fuck the world shit, because your energy is going to bring you exactly what you claim.
But and the step further I'm taking that was what we do as a people. We like to ingratiate and bring in all those folks who seem like they down. And bringing all them folks who like, oh, nah, man, that's the white dude, but he's just like us. She I know she's this, but she's cool, like whatever. We gonna see how black Tekashi is courtroom time. We gonna see, because his whole crew is black. Like all them dudes, all the videos you see, all the stuff.
Everybody.
Let's see how much family he still got in him when he gets heated and pressed. Because all of a sudden he whitened himself up real quick when it's time to get out of time. Because they said when he went into court this last time, he was humble, he was soft spoken, it was yes sir, it was no ma'am, he wasn't throwing around in this and in that and this, all that stuff clean up real quick when you got to put the suit and tie on and you're looking at some real time. So like I said, Tekashi can be used as like after school special, use him as a horrible example. But for our young folks out there in our communities and who we with about watching these folks,
it's a great example.
Yeah, watch not only if you're mimicking them Tekashi moves, but watch the Tekashi in your group. That dude who can come in and it's all cool and all sweet when everybody's, whatever. But as soon as the heat gets on, they show all these videos all the time where that white boy all of a sudden turned back into a white dude when the cops show up.
The one thing about it that kills me, and I feel like how Death Row fell, and again how Tekashi is about to fall. As soon as the background dancers want to start being the lead dancers. When Suge was Suge Knight, the menacing Suge Knight that didn't talk, you just knew that was Suge Knight. Yeah. Really didn't even know if he owned Death Row. You know what I'm saying?
You just see his name on the CD. You just see it.
Well, exactly. You didn't know until Suge started wanting to be Suge Knight. That's when Death Row fell apart. When the shorty guy that he had, the manager guy, started becoming more of a lead role player than the backup, the muscle that he was supposed to be, kind of the background, and not really be in interviews and having an opinion.
Yeah.
You started to then see when he started coming and you getting to learn him more than you're learning about the artist.
Well, you know where that comes from.
You start seeing that shift, and you see this.
For you out there who don't realize what happens when that takes place, when you have an artist who is the forefront and you're the behind the scenes guy, you realize there's a shelf life on your artist. Mm-hmm. And if you wait for your artist to expire, you're a one hitter quitter eater. If you put yourself to the forefront where you become somebody, you can then start substituting out artists and you can continue to eat. When them dudes in the background all of a sudden start coming to the front, that's usually a sign that they're looking to get rid of you. Or that they're auditioning for the new you. Like they're taking applications for the new you.
Mm-hmm.
But I think all these things are important that we have to be mindful of. That the images that we not only put in front of our kids, but also ourselves. There's a lot of adults out there who's still doing it for the gram. And that we have to be mindful of these energies that we bring into our spirit, that we listen to, that penetrate our mind and our ears, and watch how we're moving. That these suits that we create publicly, these personas that we may say that, well, if you really know me, you know I'm not like that. But that's not who you present to the world. You keep presenting a look for a long enough time. You keep creating a suit for a long enough time. And regardless of the situation, you might end up stuck having to wear it. I think these are things that we have to make sure that we're mindful of in our day-to-day lives, that we have to address when we see them, and definitely stuff that we have to say something about.
Say something.
I'm Jermaine Morrissey with Barry Accius. Where can folks find you online?
Not in the feds.
You ain't doing it for the gram?
Nah. Barry Accius at Facebook. Barry Accius Twitter. IG. It's going to be at Team Void. Of course, Black Friday. Shop Black Friday Sacramento. Come out. It's 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. 2251 Florin Road. And let the 69 story be a lesson to you youngins. Don't do it. Words to Richie Rich.
I'm Jermaine Morris on Facebook. Every other social media platform is at J Morris CEO. This has been the Say Something podcast. I'm Jermaine Morris here with Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
And until next show, we will holler at you later.
Indeed.